Welcome to Africa's first ROG arena. Woo!
Welcome back, folks, to the final event of the ATK Pro Series powered by Mercedes Assetto Corsa edition. My name is Ernest Page and I'm joined by Daniel Haynes, and this is the culmination of what we've all been waiting for the entire year. These drivers have been battling it out on various circuits, and now they find themselves at arguably one of the most epic circuits in the world. Dan, the word epic is often overused, but this time, for Mount Panorama, for Bathurst, for the mountain, I think it's a fitting description of what is going to be, in my mind, an epic race.
Yeah, welcome everyone. It's great to be back for the final round of the ACC Championship. We've already had the final round of the Gran Turismo 7, and that was at the very easy Nordschleife. And once again, we've got another easy track tonight, and that's Mount Panorama.
Yeah, indeed. I've been sitting on board with some of the guys, notably Zaire Issa and, of course, Harry Spears. our two title contenders, and I gotta say, these guys are going curb to curb, wall to wall around this circuit. And speaking of wall to wall, if you look at the wall on your screen over here, you can see our sponsors lined up at the bottom, and without them, of course, none of this would be possible. So a big thank you to all our sponsors for making this event what it is. Today, of course, is the world final event where drivers from all over the world will compete for the top spot, and then the top 3 South Africans will make it through to our Champion of Champions event happening later this year. Dan, so far, what are your thoughts on going into this event? It's nighttime. The people out there on the stream cannot see yet, but it's a night event, and as I mentioned, I'm sitting passenger with Zahir S at the moment. It's absolutely terrifying at night. You've done a race like this. Tell us what that's like.
Yeah, I've done the traditional race, the endurance race. You start in the dark, and obviously you're pretty soon. You start at sort of 5 a.m. and then you're working, and the track gets very, very hot. But these guys, we've got to make it tricky for them this final round, and it's not a dead rubber event whatsoever. It is almost winner takes all. So when we go into the qualifying session in just a little bit, we'll get to talk a little bit more about that story. But the big fight between Harry Spears and Zahir Essa, not to mention the 3 top South Africans. So it's going to be a very exciting final round.
Well, speaking of exciting final rounds, the championship standings are what is exciting, Dan, because as you mentioned, if you look at those points over there, it's 4 points between the top 2, but it's literally a winner takes all, and even Tariq Adam could take the championship if Spears and Essa get knocked out of the competition. So it's one of those situations where it's all to play for. Unfortunately, someone that is notably absent is Philip Minnaar, who unfortunately can't make it there. What a pity. The newcomer certainly has stamped his name on the ATK Pro Series powered by Mercedes-Benz.
It is, but it does open the door for Morgan McCall, doesn't it, as trying to finish in that top 3 fastest South Africans. If he can have a blinder tonight, it might be possible for him to sneak into that top 3 spot, because Philip Minnaar is only just holding on to that right now, and he'll be relying on his drop round.
All of these drivers further down the order are going to play to win, of course, because of the way the championship standings and the championship points are allocated, you could basically scoop up a big bunch of points to take through to the final. So these guys are here all to play for, and as you mentioned, Morgan McCall, definitely someone to watch at the moment, and he has been pushing hard. I've been watching him in the practice runs as well. Leon Leroux also notably out there pushing very hard, and it's such a tricky circuit. The tires, Dan, they're running at night in the cold temperatures. But we've heard from our producer that in Assetto Corsa, this is optimal for hot laps. And so far, we've seen some of the fastest times in the world from our top 2 drivers. Incredible stuff. Speaking of fastest in the world, we're going to show Zahir Essa, who currently is in 2nd place, but in the 59-second range. And there he goes, Zahir Essa in the 59-second range, Dan. I mean, how difficult is it to get down to 159s on the circuit without having to crash? Because there's no reset button on this one today, is there?
It's a perfect lap, basically. It really is. Sub 2 minutes. You've got to get it all hooked up. Absolutely perfect mountain section, and that feels like a roller coaster when you start coming on the downhill over the dipper. I mean, it's just corners come upon you, left, right, and you're just trying to keep the car in control. So to get a sub 2 minutes is superb, and Harry Spears and Zahir Essa have basically been switching places throughout this qualifying session. We've seen all season long track progression has been a thing, and it gets quicker as they go, and they'll be pushing. But I mean, I can't believe they can go much quicker than Harry Spears. 1:59.790, fantastic time there. That's at the top.
Nuts. I think we're going to be seeing an incremental increase in times if we are. We're looking at, as you say, 59s as Zahir Essa is crossing the line now. He's on his way to another hot lap, and he's already just 3/100ths of a second up, and that's, I think, the kind of gaps we're going to start seeing now with these lap record paces that these guys are running. Silverlinen, though, and Tariq Adam not too far off. Silverlinen just 2/10ths back. Tariq Adam 0.5 seconds back, and Appel McCall in the mix as well. Top 7 guys separated by 0.8 of a second so far. Dan, it's going to be down to the wire, and on a circuit like this, qualifying is important. Once you hit the mountain, there's not much overtaking happening. There's more pressure until you get to the straight bits, isn't it?
It is indeed, but there's two massive, great, big straight bits. So that passing is definitely an opportunity. Out of turn one, you've got a long drag, and you try and get the pass done before you enter the mountain section. Otherwise, Conrad straight, you're trying to get the pass done before you enter the chicane. So there is possibility there. Agree, during the mountain section, you're completely nuts if you try and make a move through there. You're just trying to survive. And that's the problem, the mountain section. We always have instants at Bathurst, and it can be taken completely out of your control. If the guy in front hits the wall, comes back onto your line, there's nothing you can do about it. You're a passenger there. So it is not a racetrack that you want to rely on. I mean, I've done the iRacing special event here, and I mean, I think Max Verstappen lasted 2 laps until he was out in his first attempt. He did come back the following year and won it. But yeah, Max Verstappen, you think, fine, hit the wall, that's it, his BMW was written off. So and that is the problem with this circuit. It is not something you want to rely on for points, and that is exactly what our 2 leaders need. They need desperately for a win. But starting at the front, a huge advantage.
We've seen this happen before in the ATK Pro Series, and as you mentioned, as the drivers go past the cutting to Griffin's Mount, where we've seen the car get light, the car spin out and then parked across the road at turn 7, repark over there, and that's where you could literally find yourself coming over the crest and T-boning a stationary car. I mean, the kind of gamble that you're taking, especially if you're one of the cars that's slightly lower down the order. Yes, we've got a field of 14 cars today, but if you're in the mid-pack over there and something goes wrong a little bit further ahead, you're going to have to deal with that problem, and you're not quite sure that problem's coming. And now we get on board with Zahir Issa and see what it's like to sit passenger in the dark like this. Just look at that. He's in the Cars.co.za car, and of course his teammate in Cars.co.za, Ashley Oldfield, having won the Gazoo Racing Cup Championship this year. I'm sure Zahir Issa will want to add another trophy to the Cars.co.za mantle, as he now currently sits in 2nd place in the championship and within striking distance of winning it at the end of this year.
Yeah, he's been phenomenal this year, and he's looking pretty good and tasty now. He's just got one person ahead of him, and that's the problem. But look at the car control through this section. How close to the walls can you get? And it's what you need to do to maximize your time. And as it goes a little bit wrong there for Zahir Issa, thankfully that was in qualifying and not the race.
Yeah, if it's gonna go wrong, it might as well be now. And as you mentioned, look at that. Harry Spears gets so close to the wall, so close to the wall, Dan. And this is that wall-to-wall sort of action we're gonna see today, because if you're not up against the wall in this car, you're wasting time. You're tightening the arc of the curve, and there you go, another bit of a clip of the wall over there. You're tightening the arc of the curve. You're making the circuit slightly tighter than it needs to be if you're not all the way out to the left or all the way out to the right. But there does come the point of how much am I willing to risk this, and the mental fortitude it takes to be able to do that for an hour-long race. I mean, these guys are under immense pressure here, especially the top 2 drivers, knowing that one mistake could cost them the entire season's work.
Indeed, but I mean, that is where sim racers, we have a huge advantage. These guys have posted some great times already, and now they're already at the point where it's just, look, let's go 110%, doesn't matter if I hit the wall, because my car can be repaired for the race. In real world, this track is absolutely nuts. I mean, they would never allow it, I don't think, as a new circuit. It's only historic reasons why we're still racing here, and what a following it has. It's right up there with like the Nordschleife, isn't it? It's a reputation for death. And yet they keep coming back here every year. But it's because of the satisfaction you get from hooking up a lap like a 159.7. I mean, it's just immense when you pull it off.
I've had a chat with the winner of the 12-hour race. There was Mika Salo a couple of years ago, and he told me the levels of concentration needed. I mean, as someone that's even raced Formula 1, he told me the levels of concentration needed on the circuit is equal. There's nothing else like it in the world, because you cannot even blink. Especially, he says you can kind of do the usual race driver things until you get to the mountain, but once you get to the mountain, it's 101% focus and nothing less. The way the lines flow into each other, the way the curves line up the next one, and here we see it now as Voss makes his way through the S's over here. This is one into the next, into the next, into the next, and there is no ways that you can make any sort of mistake. And Vos is now going down the Conrad Straight, as you mentioned earlier. There's no ways that you can make any sort of mistake lining up the one. These are the ultimate version of a complex, isn't it?
It is, totally. But it's amazing that you can get into such a rhythm. You put enough laps around here, which these guys have certainly been doing. That mountain section looks like organized chaos from an on view where we're looking at it right now. But when you're in the car, you just know your braking point so well, you know your turning point so well, you immediately know when you're just scrubbing a little bit of speed too much and you've got to lift. And it's just one that you become at one with the circuit, and to get those sort of lap times that we're seeing right now, that's exactly what you have to do. I think they're going to, obviously, you've got to tone it down a little bit for the race, because just got to have that little bit more margin for error.
Yeah, these guys are definitely going to have to tone it down ever so slightly. Someone that's not toning anything down at the moment is Zahir Issa at the moment, and he's about matching his own time right now, making his way through. But 0.2 of a second down, Harry Spears. Zahir Issa pushing hard, and Spears has been known to do this to his competitors, hasn't he? He's one of those guys that's able to get the ultimate lap time, even over someone like Issa that's usually the ultimate lap timer. So it's incredible to see Issa under this kind of seeming pressure. We've spoken to these guys afterwards, and they talk about the fact that there wasn't much pressure, but it's interesting to see with a 2/10 gap, Harry Spears has put himself into a bit of a league of his own at the moment, hasn't he?
He has indeed. He's been superb, especially as the season's gone on. He just seems to have got quicker. Zahir Issa, he's got nothing to prove. He's gonna come out as the fastest South African, almost certainly. But that's not enough for him. He wants to always win. Every race he enters, he wants to win, and this is personal for him. He wants to beat the Brit. If only just to annoy me.
Yeah,
so we've
exactly.
got a Brit versus a South African. It's all set up so nicely for this final round. It could be anyone, flip a coin, really. But at the moment, Harry Spears has got that early advantage of being on provisional pole position.
Well, the winner of this event and this championship gets VVIP tickets to K9H. Now, Dan, I don't know if you remember when we scanned in at K9H, the way those guys were looking at us. We had solid tickets. I'm not sure if it was VVIP though, but we had very good access at the last K9H, and our winner of this competition gets VVIP access, which is you can go anywhere, do anything, hospitality, etc., etc. That's kind of the way you want to do the K9H, isn't it, Dad?
It's the way I wanted to do it, but I was stuck in the commentary booth, unfortunately. Exactly. Whilst you get to enjoy the trappings of delight in the bar and drink whatever you like, where we were sweating upstairs, looking out on the pit lane. I'm not complaining, but yes, they are very good tickets indeed.
Yeah, we were sipping honey tea, talking for 9 hours straight, and there are worse things to do than that, certainly. But something slightly better than that would be the VVIP access.
I agree.
K9H.
Don't tell our bosses that, but yes, indeed.
I think they might be listening. I could be wrong. But back to the action we go. Zahir Issa still in second place. Just a few more seconds to go of this qualifying, folks. And Zahir Issa now, everything played for. He's got one more opportunity to cross the line, it seems. And then qualifying will be over. So far, Harry Spears does seem to be in a comfortable position. Savalainen in third there. Adam in fourth. McCall now slots into fifth place just across the line there. So Morgan McCall puts himself exactly where he needs to be to get that last and final spot in the South African Challenge. Top 3 South African drivers, of course, come through to the Champs of Champs end of the year, where multiple disciplines will be contested and drivers will be driving all sorts of sims to find out who is actually the best in the country on all sims, across a multitude of sims, of course. But there goes Harry Spears once again across the line, and the flag is out for him. Zahir Issa starting what seems to be his final lap. Harry Spears doing the same.
Yeah, it's going to go down to the wires, his final chance. Jonas Overleinen, we just want a quick shout. He's been very entertaining all season and is in third position as well. So maybe he can mix it up and try and put a spanner in the works for the championship standings between the top two. If he can jump Essa maybe at the start, that's something we'll be looking at. Not ideal being on the outside for turn one, to be honest. Yeah, starting third place for Sovalainen. might not be a bad thing as he enters Hell's Corner.
Yeah, Silverlinen has been consistently fast over the course of the season. There are a couple of names that stand out, and Silverlinen, as difficult as his name was to learn at the beginning of the season, he certainly has given us plenty opportunity to repeat it over and over. And there is qualifying is over, folks. Qualifying is over, and I don't think any of the drivers will be getting much faster. Issa currently 1/10 of a second down. Silverlinen coming through to complete his lap. But it does look like what you see on the standings over there is what you're going to get. And I've got to say, Issa is still pushing, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch Spears' time or gain that time back on himself. Just look at the detail there on that in-car. You can see the flag on the right-hand side. The driver can see exactly what he needs to do. Silverlinen threading the needle there, the final left-hander.
He's a 10th up, isn't he? Silverlinen is a 10th up. If he can complete this lap, I mean, he only needs to gain, what, just a 10th to sneak Essa. If he can hold this towards the end, Silverlinen might be able to jump Essa here. He's got the easy bit left, doesn't he? The long straight.
The easy bit left, but this is where everything can go wrong. He goes very wide through the right-hand sweep, now coming into the hard braking zone, making his way left, and the final complex awaits. This is Silverlinen looking for that front row spot in the grid, and he's got 2/10 of a second in hand at the moment. The final corner up ahead. Can he do it? The final stages of qualifying. Silverlinen, the name we struggle to remember. We won't forget it anytime soon.
He goes it second. He gets second.
Silverlinen's done it. Gets second position. And I bet we won't be forgetting that name anytime soon. Silverlinen, Jukka Silverlinen gets, Jonas Silverlinen, I apologize, gets second position, front row of the grid, just 1/10 of a second down. So the top three drivers now cementing themselves as the three to watch going into the final, with Tariq Adam and Bowen McCall just behind. Appel also in the mix there. The rest of the drivers from 8th position down, quite a substantial way further off. So this is really one of those circuits where class does show at the end of the day, Dan.
Yeah, that was a fantastic final lap. Silverlinen took it right to the death, and splits the two championship leaders. So Spears will be happy that he won't have Essa directly behind him. But like I said before, starting in 3rd position, not necessarily a bad place to be into that first corner of Hell Corner before you go up the mountain straight for the first time. Could very well easily get a pass on Silverlinen here before he gets into the first mountain section. Spears just needs to get cleanly away and get up the mountain first, because you want to avoid a dreaded roadblock through turn 4, the cutting. It happens all the time. Someone spins around there, it's a problem.
Okay, so we are back, folks. We are back, and for a second there, Dan, I thought I did something wrong, because as soon as I went onto the YouTube link, everything just went down. So apologies to all of those folks out there. We are back and live, and luckily we had a very long outlap. If this was a Brands Hatch Indy, it would have been a problem, Dan.
We were just complaining about the fact that we'd have a really long outlap, and then all of a sudden it came to save us. So you actually didn't miss anything, guys. And we're just about to come to the end of the parade lap now, as they come through the chase. And they will be going green very shortly. So to remind, we've got Harry Spears is first, Silverlinen in 2nd position, Zaya Essa, the big championship contender, in 3rd place. Tariq Adams will start 4th, Simon Batt in 5th position, and then Morgan McCall in 6th.
Oh my goodness me. WT says, let's go, William. And we've got Levitius in the stream as well. How's it going, Levitius? Welcome, welcome. Of course, our GT7 race winner, title contender there. Hardest says, how's it? And the rest of the guys in the stream, welcome to the final round. And here we go, we round the final bend now. The drivers are about to get cracking. Off they go. And, I think we've, yeah, there we go. We are back across the line. They go, the drivers are going. We've got Adam still in 4th place. They're making their way towards the first corner. The lights go green. The cuts across does Essa. Somebody's run wide there. Oh, that is Silverlinen that's run wide. Silverlinen slips back. Adam gets past him. And in the front over there, looks like Spears might have gotten away there. Dan, already things shaking up big time.
Yeah, Spears got a great start, but as we said, third position was not necessarily a bad place to start, and I think Zaires has managed to just sneak up into second place when they go through the first timing gate of Sector 1, and Sovalainen should drop back into third, I believe. But yeah, Harry Spears, great start, leading from the front, first guy to enter the mountain section.
Yeah, first guy to enter the mountain section, which means he's got no lights in front of him, just clear air. And look at Essa there starting to sneak up behind him, though. Essa's already starting to get ever so slightly closer, starting to apply some pressure. Behind Essa, it is Adam Sovalainen. Bauer McCall in the mix as well. Touches the wall there, looks like it does. Essa, or at least gets very close. But they have to get close in order to make sure they maintain their positions and speed, of course. Now through the very tricky downhill section, the S's, where it's all about full commitment, and there's one man with a name in his surname, that's Zahir Essa, that should be pretty good through there, Dan, or will he?
Yeah, no, it was absolutely vital for him to poach Sovalainen before he went up the first mountain section, and that is exactly what he got. And now it's winner takes all. We got 60 minutes. Can he pass Harry Spears in front of him? He's got it. He's got the guy that in front of him that he needs to get in ahead, and Sovalainen is back in fourth position. So Zahir Essa, this is your chance. Can you be the champion of the ACC division?
And as you mentioned, Dan, it really is a case of whoever crosses the line first gets the position. Further back, McCall and Bauer are battling it out there. We can get eyes on them. The two of them are tussling big time as up front, though, Harry Spears still maintains position. There goes the Kozda car of Zahir Essa, Tariq Adam just behind them, Sovalainen, Bauer there. You can see in the background fighting very hard. These guys are still trying to get those overtakes where they can, because as you mentioned, there are a couple of zones where overtaking is possible and a couple of zones where it absolutely is not.
Yeah, this is probably the favourite up the mountain straight after turn one. And if you make a mess of turn one, you just ruin your delta all the way before you get into the first corner, turn two. And the other one down the Conrod straight, just nuts long that is, and you can try and sneak up the inside of the chase. And Zahir Essa at the moment is just trying to hold on to the coattails of Harry Spears and see whether he can keep himself in contention. It's vital to not let Harry get away from him.
A pal over there, Guren. Voss in the mix as well, just a little bit further back. But Appel now in a bit of a sandwich here. He's got Guren behind him, McCall in front of him. And these guys are going curb to curb here, grabbing those curbs, touching the walls at times, and absolutely on the limit. Nobody can make a mistake. And it's so difficult with something like this. You've got to keep your eye on the circuit and not get mesmerized by the car in front of you. It's very tricky to do that, because one little mistake, get pulled into the lights of the car in front of you, and you're running 2-3 centimeters wide, which could mean the end of your race.
Yeah, now the one real tricky part here of Bathurst is when you're following someone, it's so easy to follow them into a mistake. So if they run wide, you run wide. You've got to concentrate on your own lines and try and ignore the guy in front. But easier said than done, very much so.
So much easier said than done. I spent some time on the circuit this weekend playing with some Mustangs, and when you see a car right in front of you, it's so difficult. You've got to keep your eye on the road, and in a situation like this, it's so much truer. They say motorsport has many truisms, and that certainly is one of them. Eyes on the road, eyes ahead. Don't get caught up in the lights. Don't get mesmerized by the car in front of you. But it's so difficult to do, as you say, Dan. Much easier said than done, as Appel and the rest of the field further back start to still bunch up. Joris Appel in sixth position. There he's got Guren just behind him. And now looks like McCall starting to get away. And looks like Appel is the one that's the cork in the bottle there at the moment, with Voss now also getting two within striking distance. What's
happened to Essa? He's in the pits in 11th position. Goodness. He's dropped into the pits. We've got to get a replay there. Something, has he gone into the wall or something? He's gone. He's no longer in second place. He is in 11th position. It could look like Bathurst has taken its first victim here, and it's a big one.
Oh my. Okay, so unfortunately, we don't have a replay of that, but this is not good. Zahir Essa all the way down the order there. Raymond Mooney spotted that as well. So Zahir Essa now in the pits, as you say, Dan. This is an unbelievable turn of events, and in a short race like this with just 55 minutes left, you got to say that's the end of his title contention at this stage.
Yeah, he's not going to recover from that. He's out. I mean, he says he's left the pit lane now, but he's in last place. And yeah, no chance will he. I mean, he's hoping for Harry Spears to do the same. Harry Spears will be well aware of it, looking at his delta, thinking, wow, I mean, I'm never going to have a better opportunity than this. Tariq Adams 2.5 seconds back, but I mean, it's not a contender for the championship in that respect. Harry's just got to finish this race now.
Oh my goodness me, this is incredible turn of events. And as you say, Dan, all Harry Spears needs to do now is finish this race, and even a bad situation for him would not necessarily be as bad as the one that we find Zahir Essa in at the moment. If anybody's got the mental fortitude, however, to try and claw his way back, you know, they say it's not over till it's over. But he's going to have to really keep his head on a swivel now if he wants to make sure to maintain any sort of semblance of a chance here. Ahead of him, of course, he finds many title rival or championship rivals, Tariq Adam, McCall, and the rest of them. But this is a disastrous situation for someone that is usually cool, calm, and collected, Zahir Essa.
Yeah, I was thoroughly expecting a massive tussle between those two. I think Essa was just possibly pushing too hard on that mountain section. Must have hit the wall, must have had a crash, I think. Spears was gapping him slightly, so the pressure was on, and there's no surprise. The pace is so high. So Harry's last lap was a 2:01.1, which is a fantastic time to do on a race stint with heavy fuel. And Zahir Essa was obviously trying to keep hold of him, and it just shows you what can happen here at Mount Panorama. One touch of the wall, and it's tickets.
Yeah, sheesh, man, what a shame. What a shame. Zahir Essa, our championship rival and contender, out at the moment. As we now get eyes on Appel in 5th place. Everybody would have gone up a position, and happily so. Ooh. And I'm trying to get the replay on my side here. It does look like he went into the wall on top of the mountain. And I think he went into the wall on top of the mountain. Innocuous mistake at best. But that was in the middle of lap 2 by the looks of things. And where our producers are trying to get us that replay now. But it does look like he went into the wall at the top in a very unspectacular way. It wasn't a notable incident. It's just one of those things that sort of happened by the looks of things. We're going to get that replay just to confirm that. But freaking hell, man, what a shame. I'm a little bit blown away now. Someone that hasn't made mistakes much in the past. He's always been known to be the cool guy.
Well, he said it can happen to the best, can't it? I mean, Max Verstappen in his first virtual event binned it on lap 2. So he needs no introduction, does he?
Yeah.
And Zahir Essa, you're just used to not seeing him do those sort of errors. So it is actually surprising to us. But I mean, eventually an error is going to come. And if it's going to come anywhere, unfortunately, it's here where it has such the biggest consequences. Looking at the point standings as it is, at least he has drop round points in the bag already. So it shouldn't. Here we go. Here's the replay, and there we have it.
Oh my goodness me. Oh, if we can just get that again. Let's see if we can just watch that again. Oh my goodness. If we could just get that replay once more. And that was what happened earlier on with Zahir Essa. And there you see him. So far, so good.
Here we go. This is it again.
Oh, just touches the side there. So far, so good. Oh my goodness me. Oh, there it is. There it is. There it is. Across the grass at first there, and then out of the running. Oh my goodness me.
So it was at the top, wasn't it? And it's a difficult corner because you have to brake before it, lift, come off the brakes. You cannot be braking on because your car goes light as you come over the crest. Yeah. So you have to brake, lift, and then brake again. But I mean, if you go in there just a touch too hot, you brake, you lift, you go, oh crap, I need to do more braking. There's not enough space for you to slow down anymore. And he just cut that chicane, hit the wall, and that's it. He's back in the pit lane, and he's in a recovery drive.
We were talking about earlier on that skyline where it's so easy for the car to go light there on that downhill section.
Yeah.
Especially a front engine car like this over there. Even most, I would imagine, maybe even more difficult than the rear engine car. In a car like this, you just lose the back, and before you can collect it, there's a wall, Dan.
Well, the unfortunate bit is there is actually a bailout there. You can go over, straight over, and you can cut the chicane, and there's a possibility to bail out. But he'd already committed for the corner, and that was the issue. Went over the grass, and then you're not stopping, and he hit the wall. If he'd went dead straight, he would have been fine. But yeah, hindsight is a wonderful thing.
While all of that is happening, and yes, indeed, hindsight is 2020, as they say, we see Tariq Adam in second position. The first of the South Africans now flying the flag in second place. He's got Silverlinen now behind him. So Tariq Adam has made his way through the field, and that is characteristic of Tariq Adam's performance so far this season, Dan. He's carved his way up the field race after race, hasn't he?
He has, and he sort of, unfortunately, he hasn't probably been mentioned enough. But he's sitting second as the fastest South African, second fastest South African behind Zayasa. So it's a phenomenal season he's having. He will be making it to the Champions of Champions rounds. And I think obviously he'll be joined by Escher as well, because just to remind guys that you do get a drop round in the season. So even if Escher finishes last here today, he has points to fall back onto. And it's enough points to get him into that top 3 spot for the South African side of things. But it's not enough, obviously, to take the championship tonight.
Yeah, unfortunately, tonight, the race is pretty much a run for the championship title if Harry Spears can maintain composure. And we've seen it before, Dan. We've seen technical issues take over. We've seen glitches take over, so God forbid that's the case. But Harry Spears now has to give us all a lesson in composure in the front over there, and control the field from the front. Tariq Adam now doing the same, trying to absorb the pressure of the very fast Silverlinen who we saw earlier on get onto the front of the grid. He's going to want that place back as he looks around the outside into the final left-hander over there. And Murray's corner turn number 23, if you can believe it. And now he's got a bit of a run down the main straight over there into the left, turn 1 Hull corner. And Hull corner, not that hellish. It does turn in on you a little bit, but it's the corner that sets up the entirety of the rest of the circuit, doesn't it, Dan?
It does. It's called Hell's Corner because it had a tree stump right on the apex for a long, long time before they removed it. And I think if you hit it, you would be sent straight to hell was the idea. But this is a great battle between Silverlinen and Tariq Adams, and we've seen some awesome battles all season with Silverlinen being involved with them. So this is something we can enjoy and watch on as Harry Spears is just trying to concentrate on his own pace. It's not easy though. I mean, Harry's got a long time to go on the front on his own, and it's not exactly like a Monza or a Spa where you're just familiar, you just put in the motions and put in the laps. You've got to keep concentration right to the last minute here. Yeah,
Silverlinen applying immense pressure to Adam, but now finds Adam with a slight gap. Look at how close they're coming to the wall over there. Over the top of the hill they go. And now towards the section we saw early on where Escher made the uncharacteristic mistake into the wall on your left over there. And just look at that concertina effect as he gets closer, as the cars go into the braking zones. Left, right. As they zig and zag their way, final left-hander now onto the incredible Conrad Straight. And here we go. Let's look at how fast these guys go. And the corner up ahead is absolutely terrifying, Dan. I mean, that is flat out the chase, they call it, and then into turn number 22. You've got to go super wide over there. Look at that. He's trying to cover the line, though, because he knows this is going to happen. He knows that Silverlinen's going to have a look. He zigs and zags across the line. Still legal, though. Didn't cut him off too much, but applying pressure is Silverlinen, and Silverlinen cleverly doing so where it counts.
Yeah, 2 most important corners for Silverlinen is the exit of the dip at turn 18 and then the exit of turn 1 here, Hell's Corner, because that's where you want to put the drag on it. I mean, that Conrad Straight is absolutely crazy. They only put the chase in to slow them down. It used to be dead straight all the way to Murray's Corner, but they thought they better slow them down when cars started to get airborne. So they added those 2 extra corners in, but it is still just such a massive braking zone. Must be punishing for the cars.
The Aussies aren't known for taking health and safety quite that seriously, especially not in the 70s and 80s.
No, but a bit more so these days, I can tell you that for sure. They have 15 signposts to tell you about the signposts coming up. They're as bad as the Poms these days, the Australians. They've lost it. But thankfully, this is an historic race, so it's not going anywhere. It's a public It's a public road as well. If you go here in real life, I think you can only go about 60 kilometers an hour. They've got about 50 speed cameras all the way around to make sure that you do as well. So that's typical Australia.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you find yourself in a circle like this, and the slightest sniff of a downhill strip makes you want to go fast. So I can imagine, oh, look at that. Silverliner just doing the work in that car over there. But you've got to commend Tariq Adam because he's absorbing that pressure. Looks like he's coming up towards a back marker now. And this is what we're going to start seeing soon, Dan. We're going to start seeing these guys start to catch up to some back markers, and that's going to make things very interesting through the mountain over there. Zaire is still, let's not forget him, in 13th position over there. And
yeah, he's just about to say, sorry, Ernest, I was just about to say, S has found his first victim, is working his way through the grid. What you have to remember, he's at least got his pit stop out the way. He would have changed tyres, obviously refueled. We never know how far up Zaire Essa can get, but I would like to think that he's going to get quite high up in the standings by the end. 43 minutes to go, plenty to fight for, and the reason why he's still going around is he knows it's Bathurst, and he knows anything can happen here.
Exactly, and that's something you so rightly pointed out, Dan, is that the pit stops still have to happen for everyone else. I mean, Zaire S is not a quitter, so he's not going to mentally check out of this race just yet, and he'd be foolish to do that. So let's watch and see what transpires here. I mean, a solid result is still a solid result. Yes, he might not get that championship title, but as you mentioned, anything can happen, and still only 17 minutes of racing completed. So we've still got another 43 minutes to go at 2:25 a.m. Anything can happen at night on any circuit. So as they say in America, any given day, any given day.
And Esther's put in the fastest lap of the race, 2 minutes, 0.7, 2 flat, 0.7. The only other guy in the 2 minutes is Harry at front with a 2:00.8, so a tenth slower than Essa. So it is such a shame in a way that we didn't have those two fighting off, because they are lapping right next to each other, the fastest guys on the circuit. And Essa's about 4 seconds a lap quicker than those around him. So I'm expecting him to work his way up through the field, and he just wants to try and lose the least amount of time possible. Yeah. It's a recovery drive now. It's just how far he can recover.
Exactly. If we can get some eyes on Essa, that would be great. I'd love if we can see where he currently is. He's 3 seconds, I think he's 11 seconds behind Trollop at this stage. So maybe when he gets a bit closer to the action, there's your leader in the 285 car. Substantial lead at this stage is Harry Spears over Tariq Adam. Comfortable lead, let's put it that way. Harry Spears over Tariq Adam as he once again crosses the line. His best time there, as you see, 2 minutes 0.8, and goes into our corner over there. Calm and collected, a little bit of oversteer moment on the exit, but nothing too dramatic. And that's exactly what we're probably going to be seeing from Harry Spears for the rest of this race, is an undramatic performance to secure the championship title. It's all to play for now, and I'm sure if he's got an engineer in his ear, you'll be getting an earful of just hold it together, don't do anything silly. You've done this before, keep doing what you do. It's all now about the rinse and repeat till the clock runs down.
And just to confirm for the guys in chat, it isn't a compulsory pit stop. It's just the advantage. I was assuming that there may be a few splash and dashes happening, whether they can actually get to the end of this race with enough fuel. Otherwise, they've got to do fuel saving to get there. And that's something that Essa won't have to do. He can literally go balls to the wall now, because those extra few laps are going to make quite a big difference. However, there's a lot of traffic to get through, and that's the issue.
If fuel saving, sorry Dad to cut you there, if fuel saving is the criteria, then that means that Harry Spears could very easily save fuel all the way through to the end. I mean, 8.6 seconds. Yeah,
he's fine, he's fine.
Gap. And that's the guy that we're wondering about now. If Essa beats every single other competitor, yeah, it doesn't really matter, does it?
True, this is very true. Yeah, he needs a hand of God moment, doesn't he? He needs something to happen to that number one Mercedes at the front, the 285. It needs to. But I mean, Spears, surely you just let off the gas a little bit, just give that extra 5%, as we see a back marker getting out the way there. That's the other thing. Back markers could play a role here.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm kind of hoping for a spicy finish, but I'm not trying to jinx anybody's race. But I wouldn't mind seeing a little down to the wire action here. Let's see what transpires. Still early days though. Let's check. Harry Spears does a 2:01 on that lap over there, and there is Yuna Silverline right on the back bumper of Tariq Adam. And they make their way now down the main straight once more into the sharp left-hander ever so slightly. It's about 91 degree corner there, I would imagine that.
Yeah, it's literally just 90 left, isn't it? And it's you think so easy, and the same with the 90 left at the end as well. But it's remarkable how often people cock that corner up. And it can affect the rest of the straight hugely, and you've lost a place. But Silverline, he's got the pace. Remember, he qualified in second position. It's just Tariq Adams is putting in his car in the right positions at the right time, and it seems to just soaking up this pressure quite nicely.
Yeah. So once again, from our side, apologies on the pit stop information there. Yes, they can push all the way through with no pit stops, but some of them might and some of them will do fuel saving. But at this stage, the fuel saving strategy, Dan, seems to be the smart one for Harry Spears. Essa unfortunately had no choice but to get that pit stop going and now put the hammer down to try and catch up to the guys in front. Currently 2.5 seconds behind Trollop, and as soon as we can, I'd love to see what he does to try and thread his way through the back walkers, because he's got a couple up ahead of him. Wentworth in there as well, Gate, Voss, Deploy, and the rest of the field between him and his championship rival as we watch Adam and Silverline still battling it out. A close race here right in front. Morgan McCall also tussling with a pal there. McCall down in 6th place. He's trying to get maximum points to be the top 3 South Africans for the finals.
Yeah, at the moment, I don't think he's doing enough. He's going to finish in that dreaded 4th position. First of the losers, unfortunately, as far as the championships go. But it's still a fantastic season he's had. Finishing if he gets that top 4 spot. But yeah, Morgan McCall needs to do more. Needs to try and push on through the second half of the race. Essa is about where he meets traffic, and that's the problem here. If you get traffic at the start of the mountain pass, you've just got to wait. Even if the guy's 4 seconds a lap slower than you, you're not going to risk a pass on the mountain, because that really would be the end.
Yeah, Trollop gave way there, and rightly so. Trollop feeling the pain, I'm sure, of Zaire Essa at this stage, and giving way for the charging Kazatera car that was dominant at times. And Zaire Essa certainly has shown his dominance over many seasons. And unfortunately today now on that recovery drive, but he is pushing hard though, Dan.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he can do right now. He's probably livid with himself hitting the wall. I can just imagine the steam inside that Mercedes-AMG. Misty windows, because he's not going to be happy with himself, but he's putting his aggression out on the track, and he's still lapping exceptionally quick, even with traffic. But yeah, the traffic's gonna be painful.
And that's what's going to separate him from the others at this stage. Whoever's able to deal with the traffic the best. Zaire Essa on board with him now in 12th position. That's very uncharacteristic from him, but it really has come down to this final race, hasn't it? An incredible turn of events here. He is, however, still and more than likely will be one of the fastest South African in the championship. But those calculators might need to come out now, Dan, because he's not in the position that we thought he would be in at the beginning of this race.
No, and I'm sure guys will be working on that, because Tariq Adams in 2nd position is going to get a hatful of points right now. So our producers, the guys behind the Excel spreadsheets, will have it ready for us towards the end. At the moment, I mean, Tariq Adams is just soaking up a massive amount of pressure from Silverline, and he's side by side here. But not enough as they come through the final corner and onto the start-finish straight. And
here comes Silverline.
Yeah,
I think this could be it, Dan. This could be the look down the inside that we've been waiting for. Is he going to do it now? No, he does not. Not close enough is Silverline, but I think here has to be the moment. On the back bumper of that Mercedes, you see the lights dipping and ducking and flashing below that spoiler. He's going to try and get down the inside. Adam covers the inside line. It means Silverline is going to have to go down the outside, which he does. into the right-hander. This is not a good idea for both of them around the outside. Goes Sovalainen. Sovalainen takes it around the outside. He might have it secured up the hill. Sovalainen secures it around the outside. We've got to watch that replay again. That is the overtake of the race so far, Dan. Unbelievable stuff.
I think that's the overtake of the season, because I was just about to say, well, you're not making a pass around the outside of turn 2. Just doesn't happen. Tariq Adams done exactly what he needed to do, covering the inside, but no one gave the message to Sovalainen. He just sent it all the way around the outside. No worries whatsoever. Thank you very much. Up the mountain, it's mine.
Jeez, incredible stuff. Sovalainen back at the front row of the grid into second position. And what an incredible move from him. Tariq Adam, unfortunately, at the receiving end of what could be, you never want to be a highlight reel on the wrong end of a highlight reel. But that was a highlight reel overtake there, Dan. And as you mentioned, rightly so, could be very well one of the overtakes of the season, if not the overtake of the season. Not because of its technical prowess so much, but certainly because of it's the spot where nobody overtakes.
It's the bravery to pull that off. It was just something else. And I think we've managed to get a replay of it here. Let's have another look. Tasty. This is very tasty.
Very tasty indeed on that back bumper. Tariq Adam goes defensive and look at Sovalainen, goes down the outside now into the hard braking zone, gets side by side and just noses ahead. Adam has to back out, and Sovalainen uses the entire, we just heard our producer in the background go, yo, and I don't blame him. I don't blame him losing a little bit of composure there. That was pretty yo, wasn't it, Dan?
It was good driving from both drivers, though, because, I mean, that could have went very pear-shaped very quickly and at the end of both of their races. But now Tariq Adams is going to try and hunt him down, but Sovalainen seems to be, the cork's out the bottle. He's gone. He's already 6/10 up, and he's going to try and track down the leaders, but he's got a long way to go to Spears now because he's been fighting for so long.
Well, Sovalainen more than likely had the pace by the looks of things as we go on board now with Northern McCall in 6th place. Trying to get as many points as he can, 4/10%. But down on Appel in 5th as they once again make their way through the mountain section. Bumper cab is what we're looking at. And look at the lights ablaze. You see the sponsor logos flashing past at lightning speed. The curves coming and going as the cars jig left and then right again. And now we also see a car right behind McCall. That's Guren over there as they get to the now infamous section where early on we saw one of our most talented and decorated drivers make an uncharacteristic mistake. So it could happen to anyone. Hopefully, I think McCall hopes it doesn't happen to him.
Yeah, I would like to hear from Essa at the end of this race, just see what went through. I mean, it was obviously just, it came upon him too quickly, because you just bail out of that corner. If you know you're going in too quick, you just go straight over, take the escape route, bypass the chicane. And but yeah, he was trying to make it, and I came a cropper hitting the grass. Such a shame, such small margins.
Yeah, that's all it takes, though. An inch left, an inch right. You zig when you should have zagged, and it all ends in tears. Unfortunately, that's the nature of the beast, isn't it, Dan? She is a cruel mistress, motorsport.
It is, and in the dark as well. I mean, this place is properly dark. It's not easy. It does make it changes it a lot, that mountain section, and yeah, maybe that had a little bit of an involvement there for Zyressa, nighttime driving. There's a lot of factors that came into play that has ultimately left him on his recovery drive. Up into 11th position right now, though, so he's got past William Wentworth and LaRue. Yeah. And next one.
13 seconds down at the moment.
Could get into the top 10 still.
Yeah, 13 seconds down. But look, we're only halfway through this race. Spears need to keep an eye on him to make sure he keeps it tidy. He is 11 seconds by the looks of it ahead of Sovalainen. So let's watch that margin with Tariq Adam now already 1 second down on second place man, Una Sovalainen.
And Una Sovalainen, since he's been released, has just set his fastest lap of the race with a 2 minutes flat 0.9. Only a 10th off our leader, Harry Spears, who, I mean, you'd think that you would just think, wow, I'm cruising, but no one's given the message to Harry because he is pushing. I mean, 2 flat 0.8 was his last lap, only 3/100ths off his fastest lap of the race. So he's going hell for leather regardless of his position and his championship rival being out of the standings.
Yeah, but this speaks to the mindset of these drivers, the mental toughness, the abilities. And I was watching a podcast this week about confidence, and I was thinking about confidence in motorsport, and it's according to John Danaher, confidence is a result of demonstrated ability. And Spears and these guys have over and over and over demonstrated their skills and their abilities to themselves and to others. And with that just comes a level of confidence that, you know, even when you're leading a championship race like this, you're still comfortable pushing at 99.8%, as we can see here. So that's just incredible to be able to do it in what arguably some of the trickiest conditions in sim racing happening right now for Harry Spears, and still managing to pump out those incredible laps.
Yeah, sometimes if you alter your pace, it actually alters your rhythm as well. So you're better off just pushing. But whilst you're chatting, Voss obviously dipped to the pits as well. Matheus Voss is just leaving the pits now, and that put Essa, this 13-second gap disappeared immediately and went straight into the top 10, because we've had another victim of the mountain as he's had to go into the pit lane, and he's on his own recovery drive now. So he's not the only one, and he might not be the last tonight either.
Yeah, I just noticed now the line for Harry Spears over there. I mean, he is on that section where we saw Essa lose it over there. He actually rotates the car, gets the car loose on that spot intentionally to get the car rotated. But I mean, the wheel's already off the ground basically, and you're still rotating the car. That's a high risk maneuver right there, isn't it?
Yeah, but if anyone that's done any sim racing here at Bathurst, well, that skyline, the first time you go through it, you crash. The second time you crash. The fifth time you crash. The 10th time you crash. And then eventually you find your way over it and you get a sort of rhythm, and then it becomes a joy. But it's incredibly difficult, that corner, and you've got to be super brave, and you've got to be super committed to your braking zone, lifting and then braking again. And once you've got it, you nail it every time. It's never an issue. Never think about it again for some reason until you touch the wall again.
Morgan McCall getting into a bit of a tussle there with the pal now, and McCall starting to apply that pressure. The gap now very, very small, 0.2 of a second for the number 19 there in 6th position. And in front of him is the 29 car of Appel. And let's see what will happen next as they make their way through. McCall now trying to get past, and you can see he's on a bit of a charge in that ATK car, isn't he, there?
He is, and he's a couple of tenths quicker on that last lap, so he's putting pressure on it, and it feels like a pass may be coming here for the top 5 spot. And this could be it again. Surely not round the outside again. We can't have 2 in one race.
Oh, he does have a look, though. He does have a look. But thinks better of it, because, I mean, you'd be foolish to overtake there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I wouldn't do it, but apparently some people do try it, and now I'm thinking possibly it is a possibility, but I still wouldn't have the... I don't think I would go for it. I've not seen anyone do it before. That's such a perfect pass earlier. Morgan McCall think better of it, that's for sure.
I think you were about to say the words, but let's say it's you need big marbles to go play in that game.
Well, I'm bigger than marbles, so you need grapefruits, I believe.
And once again, they now make their way through to the other side of the mountain. A little bit of understeer there for McCall as he pushes the nose of the Mercedes-Benz. Not the easiest car to set up. And also, according to some of the people in our stream over here, saying that the Mercedes is actually quite a tricky car to drive on the circuit.
Really? Okay, interesting, considering it did win the 12 hour this year. So maybe Kunos have got to give it a little bit of an alteration.
Yeah, but Dan, just because a car's fast doesn't mean it's an easy car to drive. You've seen
True.
Guys, the NASCAR drivers have often spoke about the fact that the winning car that they've driven in certain circuits, it's not the kind of it's quite interesting to me. Let me rephrase. That it's not often how you want the car to be set up, it's the fastest setup.
Yeah, I think this car with the big weight at the front may be a little bit disconcerting with the push, and it's not a circuit you want understeer with walls. So
that's the worst. 'Cause you see it coming, isn't it?
Well, there's not much you can do about it, is it, really? So in a normal situation, understeer's nice and safe, but with the walls, it takes a little bit out of your hands.
Yeah. It's really one of those things. Understeer is where you see the wall coming. Oversteer is where you feel the wall hitting.
Yes.
So it's slightly different experience, certainly. But it's quite interesting to hear professional drivers talk about setups of their cars, and how sometimes, as I said, it's not necessarily what they want. It's not necessarily what they feel is the best setup, but whatever's fastest, that's kind of what you got to. That's what you got to do sometimes.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to Rafael Marciello at the K9, and I asked him what's it like to drive, and he goes, "It's terrible. They're all terrible as long as you're the quickest." So I think that they don't feel brilliant at all. As long as you're the top of the timesheet, they're happy. But they always think there's things that you can improve on it, and he had a winning car as well.
And when it comes to BOP, and we see that in GT racing, where the cars are so evenly matched, you know, you take what you can get and you drive the wheels off it until the time starts dropping. You know, there's not much else that you can do. And we've spoken to the engineers as well, both of us, Dan. There isn't that much setup. Even though Assetto Corsa has an extensive bunch of setups, there's not that much setups to change on these cars.
Yeah, it really isn't a huge amount. I mean, I was saying, well, how do you prepare for wet weather? And then just like, oh, well, we tape up a few vents. That's pretty much it. You're expecting a little bit more than that from like F1, but that really isn't the case. These GT3 cars, there's not a huge amount they can change. But at least in this situation, is what I've enjoyed so much this series, is everyone's in the same car, isn't it? So you can't really have complaints. You've got to adapt, and that is what a good driver can do. They can adapt under the situation, and we've got two cars coming together here. That's Essa.
That's Essa and Goit. So Essa tries to make the overtake there. He's not lapping, so this could be a disaster for him. Cuts the nose off, does Goit, but that is not an unlapped car. That is, in fact, for position. So Essa and Goit, of course, is well within his right to cut the nose off there, close the door.
Yeah, I think he's getting a little bit impatient. Essa's obviously trying to get through this traffic as fast as he can. He knows he's quicker, and he will make the pass inevitable. But on the mountain section, you can't rely on the guy leaving the door open. You're going to slide up the inside here into the final corner, though, and that is a safe way to pass. Yeah,
easily does it. And just going back to the chat, Raymond Mooney says around the outside of turn 2 here is insane. He says it never works.
Yeah, it never works. It never works when I do it. But apparently it works quite nicely if your name is Eunice Overlinen. So yeah, maybe it's a lack of skill. I think it was you've got to have the cooperation. You need the cooperation of the other driver, and that's maybe where he can thank Tariq Adams for not pushing him into the walls. We got another replay from the helicopter cam of this unbelievable... Ooh. Oh, no, it's the tap, isn't it? Yeah, Zaire Essa. He's trying to... I mean, putting his car in a position where there isn't space there, to be honest.
There wasn't space, and he came back from quite a far way back as well. And Goit, of course, just on his line, closed the door, rightly so.
No damage, I believe. There won't be any damage there, I don't think. So it's just lost a bit of time for Essa, but he's 28 seconds now. It's a long, long way to go to get to Christian Deploy in 8th position.
That's the next one. That's the next big jump for him, isn't it, Christian Deploy? But still 20 minutes to go, and Zaire Essa clearly on a charge. But the frustration levels must be high, although we're not seeing it too much. There was a slight indication that he might have been a little bit frustrated there, but I think this isn't Gran Turismo 3 where you're playing against the computer and you know you need to overtake 6 guys in 1 lap. This is not that.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard. It's very good when that comes off, though, isn't it? It's just, yeah, it doesn't often work like going around the outside of turn 2 at Bathurst.
Overtake of the season, it certainly could be, folks. The final round of the ATK Pro Series has proven to be quite spectacular so far, and spectacular driving demonstrated here by our top drivers. So the line currently in 2nd position with what could be one of the best overtakes we've seen in one of the most unlikely spots as well. Zaire Essa currently in an uncharacteristic 9th position. You've heard right, folks. Zaire Essa is in 9th position after clipping the curb early on and then smashing into the wall, having to pit and get the fuel topped up. He's now one of the few drivers to pit. Of course, compulsory pit stops not necessary here today, but we are suspecting that some drivers might go for splash and dash later on. The drivers that don't, however, will be the ones that do fuel saving, and that one of those drivers could be Harry Spears, who currently leads us off. Silverline in second, Adam the first of the Saffers in third place, with Bauer right behind him. The next South African, Morgan McCall, in sixth place. Of course, the South African drivers fighting for top three in the standings as one of the drivers pulls off for Zahir Esser. And it's easy to pull off for Zahir Esser. I've had him in my rearview mirror once or twice. You kind of just want to let the fast guy through. He's so incredibly fast.
Yeah, the intimidation factor's there, isn't it? You pull off so quick, you pull straight into the wall. You want to get out of his way so much. Zahir Esser is going to work his way through the back mark a little bit easier than the normal guys. But the pace at the front is still killer fast, and we're sort of in the 2-minute flat to lap times, race times that is, with Silverline and Spears. And it is a dying shame that Esser had that mishap at the start, really, because I really think those top three, their lap times are the only ones in the 2 minutes flat, and they would have had a mighty battle towards the end. But Spears still got to get it done. 19 minutes to go.
Yeah, that accident happened midway through lap number 2. So really, at the start of this race, just a few minutes had completed. Now, speaking of few minutes, only have 10 minutes left of driving, Dan, and the midsection of these races really does fly past, doesn't it? You blink and it's 30 minutes gone. Sorry, 20 minutes of racing left. You blink and it's 40 minutes gone. And now the drivers have 20 minutes to make it all happen in the final 18 minutes and 27 seconds. If someone that's trying to make it happen for himself is Zahir Esser, chopping away at the gap between him and the Ploy.
Closest gap on circuit right now is definitely Morgan McCall, who we're riding on board with as he tries to track down Apple in 5th position. The only gap that's under a second. Otherwise, it's just spread out a little bit between most drivers. So we'll just see whether Morgan McCall is our next possibility to see an overtake on circuit. Here's our leader, though, Harry. What a drive he's had. What a season he's had.
Yeah, Harry Spears has had quite the season. And we spoke to him at the beginning of the season. Such an unassuming fellow, but he's...
Oh, that's because he's a British, nice and humble,
yeah,
you see.
Well, I don't know about that. Not all of them
are
that way, are they, Dan?
Sorry. Well, I moved to South Africa. That's
so
the problem. They changed everything.
Once you got one piece of boerewors in your mouth, all of a sudden you think you're one of us. Yeah. But that's not the case, though. Harry Spears has got one of the most incredible records, or at least statistics, when it comes to a set of course, isn't it, Dan? He's one of those guys that whenever he enters a race, he kind of usually wins it.
I like that about him, though. Yeah, you look at his stats, and he doesn't enter everything, but when he enters it, he goes in hard. He puts the preparation in, he puts the time in, and he goes for the win. And at the moment, he's on track to win this whole championship. So it's been a phenomenal season for him. It's ebbed and flowed, though, hasn't it? And that's what's been great. No one has actually just taken this championship by the scruff of the neck and just ran away with it. Harry Spears has just had a very solid final couple of rounds.
Yeah, he has, and he's really found his rhythm. And when he got second position and not winning in some of these races, we've also chatted to him then, and you could see he was trying to figure. He knew that in those races, these opponents had the measure of him, but never did he wilt or give up or sort of just crawl into a corner and wilt away. No, he knew that, okay, well, he had me now, but maybe I'll get him next time. And that's kind of been his attitude this entire season. But when he did get them, he got them good.
I wonder whether he's going to make a trip down to South Africa. I wonder whether he's ever been here before to take hold of his VVIP tickets at the Climby 9 Hour. It'd be good to.
I don't think he's eligible for that, though. That's you got
I think the championship winner. It's a championship winner. Oh, is it? Oh, that would be a shame.
South African passport for that one, mate. But I'm pretty sure he'll if he does come through, he'll get access to that. The ATK team and ATK management are pretty well connected when it comes to these kind of things. I'm sure they can make an exception if Harry happens to be in town for the Kylo we know now.
It would be nice to see him in February. We'll see whether he can make a trip down. If I doubt he's probably not many English guys will work their way this far south, so I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. The sun's a little bit bright these spots, eh?
Oh, it's a bit too much, especially in February, my word. That would flash fry comes to mind. Anyway, Sovalainen's got that gap down a little bit, 9.7 seconds, so it is coming down. Spears has just let off the throttle slightly, maybe doing a little bit of fuel saving towards the end of this race is what we come to think.
And now we still see the battle between Appel and McCall, 0.5 of a second between them. And now they find themselves on the back of Bauer. Bauer in 4th position, now getting pressure from these two. And are the two behind him thinking to themselves, you know what, let's just get closer to Bauer, because that is 4th position there, folks. And if they can get within striking distance of 4th place, dispatch him, this is a whole new level of points that they will be able to accrue and take home with them this evening.
Yeah, we've not mentioned Simon Bale's name so far tonight, and I think that's because he's just basically been driving on his own. But the pace that Morgan McCall is and the pressure he's put on Apple in 5th, they've been pushing each other along, and they've managed to use that pace together, working together, and it's tacked him on the back of Bauer. So all of a sudden, he's going to have a reason to put his foot down, is the German.
Well, it does look like Bauer doesn't have the pace of these two, even with them tussling each other. They're just sort of catching him up slowly but surely. And Raymond Mooney pointing out rightly so, 4, 5, and 6 within 1.5 seconds of each other. That gap now probably a little bit smaller than a 1.5 seconds, just under 1.5 seconds. And there you see it on track now, all on the same screen. 4th, Bauer. 5th, Appel. 6th, McCall. Going down the Conrad Straight now in the new section where they sweep to the right-hand side and then hard on the brakes for the tight left-hander towards the final sector. And look at that under brakes, catches him up. And McCall has to watch on from quite a distance now. And the race has changed hands a little bit as Appel and Bauer start to battle it out for 4th place.
Yeah, quite evenly matched on lap times at all 3 of these cars, but actually Morgan McCall has the fastest lap of all of them in the race with a 2:01.1. Apple is 1.3 and Bauer's a 1.4, so very closely matched. Last laps looks like, Apple really put a flyer on there. Well, 2:01.8 was half a second quicker, which is why he's closed up that gap and is right on the back of Bauer's tailpipes.
Yeah, it looks like Bauer now under immense pressure with a gap getting bigger between Morgan McCall. But Morgan probably realizes either way, he's going to be catching up to one of these guys as soon as the overtake maneuver starts to unfold. And it looks like that could happen within the next lap or so, Dan.
Yeah, these guys are going to want to get out of the dark. It's a shame that we haven't actually got a bit of sunrise coming through before the end of this race. Maybe they should push on and do the full 12-hour, but that's not the case. It's going to be sort of 3 a.m. We've done basically the real life time of wherever we've gone throughout this season, which is why it is actually 2:56 in Australia at Bathurst. So that's why the start times are what they are. But yeah, it's made it definitely tricky, and these guys are going to be following the lights in front, and Morgan McCall's just looking on, because you always feel a bit tasty when the 2 guys in front get quite close, because you can poach 2 positions quite easy sometimes.
Exactly. He's effectively licking his lips at this stage at the hope of potentially leapfrogging both of these drivers. But again, Morgan McCall now finds himself very close to Appel. He's getting ever so slightly closer, and Bauer seemingly has dropped the hammers a little bit. I think Bauer might have a little bit of pace in him. Ever so slightly. Will he do so? Robert Wentworth supporting William Wentworth in 11th position. Was doing quite well in practice. So was Leon Leroux, who now finds himself 2 laps down. But both of them were doing quite well in practice early on.
Yeah, I mean, you're not last, really, because it's a 12th position. We've had a retirement in Thomas Trollope has actually left the server from the pit, so he didn't make it to the end. So you can all, and I think Voss has also quit as well. Matthews Voss, who we saw going through the pit lane. So we've had a couple of fatal hits with the wall that have not seen them complete. S has carried on to try on a bit on recovery, but it just shows you that even with the likes of Esther on lap 2, it's just too much. It's too terminal a damage to try and recover in only a 60-minute race. He would have needed a 12-hour to try and get back up there.
But that's the lure of 12-hour races, isn't it? Where you can get We can come back as we go on board with Morgan McCall. Oh, Morgan McCall tucking it in there. Tucking it right in. And look at that. You can see the diffuser on the back of that Mercedes-Benz. It's pretty much all you can see at this stage as Morgan McCall gets ever closer through the hill now, through the top of the mountain, making his way through to the end of the mountain section pretty soon. And this is such a tricky section over here. Oh, right, left. Watch the curve on the inside there. Watch the wall on the inside. Watch the wall on the outside. It's everywhere. Danger, danger, everywhere. These guys are trying to do the best and the fastest. Unbelievable.
Such great camera angle that is, to give you an idea of just how hectic and how little space you have through that mountain section. And yet I can tell you for sure Morgan McCall will be completely in control of the car. You get into a rhythm, but the more familiar you get with it, the more blasé. And yeah, one touch of that wall and you're finished. But here looks like Morgan McCall's going to have a run into the chase. Is he? That looks on the inside. It gets covered. Now he's going to switch back.
Oh my goodness me, I think there might have been a touch there. They're side by side as they go towards the final sector. McCall gets ahead. McCall gets ahead of a pal, looks like it. And Morgan McCall, it looks like that is Morgan McCall. Yes, the 19 car did get ahead then. Morgan McCall pulls of an incredible overtake. They did touch, but that was door to door though. I wonder if we can get a replay of that.
There was a bit of movement in the braking zone there, wasn't it? As Apple went defensive and Morgan McCall did the old switchback on him and took the other side and thinks, well, if you're going to go left, I'll go right. And a good pass in the end by Morgan McCall into the top 5.
Yeah, Morgan McCall in the top 5 now, and now the calculators are going to start coming out. Here's that replay. Look at that. Does the old switcheroo. Gets down the inside. Oh! That was very close there. But he did place the car next to him. Our stewards might have a look at that. The lights flashing there. And I tell you what, someone that's not happy about that is a pal.
Yeah, but you sort of see it coming for quite a few laps, couldn't you? Morgan McCall seemed to be all over the back of him for a while, just trying to find that place. And when you're in the same machinery, you've almost got to make it happen. And that's exactly what Morgan McCall did. He wasn't having any of the defensive driving. He's like, no, I'll switch back and I'll take it the other way.
Well, Bauer certainly has put things into perspective. He's now full 2 seconds ahead of McCall. Let's watch that gap with 8 minutes to go. 1.982 seconds the gap currently. That's the closest one on circuit at the moment, other than, of course, the man that just got overtaken by McCall. But Bauer definitely trying to go as fast as possible. He doesn't want to have anything to do with Morgan McCall at this stage.
I'm just looking at the pace of Jonas Overline, and it's phenomenal. He just put the fastest lap of the race with a 2 flat 0.6. And Harry Spears, I think, must be fuel saving because he's going just under the 2:02 marks. So the gap's come down quite a lot, but there's only 7 minutes to go. So I think Harry is just nursing his car back with a little fuel that he has remaining. And handy that he built up such a comfortable lead with sort of 10 or so seconds. He's just been able to hold it, and it's allowed him to do this fuel saving. But great pace from Sovalainen at the end of this race.
Yeah, Sovalainen currently about 8 seconds back, and he's going for broke at this stage, and I'm sure Spears knows this. But Spears is controlling the pace at this stage. He can do whatever he wants. Hopefully, though, nobody runs out of fuel. That is a very real possibility, though, Dan. We're going to have to wait and see till the end of the race. We've seen it before in our Gran Turismo version of this.
Yeah, those guys really push the limits of fuel, though.
Yeah, they push the limits.
Like literally half-litre finishes across the line almost every race. They really do push the limit.
They really do. And we're going to see a bunch of those guys making their way into a Assetto Corsa, not least of which is Dean Norquet. And he's going to be arguably one of the fastest Gran Turismo guys ever to come over to Assetto Corsa. Koketso Pilani, another name you might recognize. So we're going to be seeing a lot of new names in this space, bringing with them some talents that they've picked up in other simulators. Of course, that's what the Champs of Champs is all about, where drivers will be driving various simulators across various disciplines to try and figure out who is the best on any sim in South Africa, and the top 3 drivers from each competition will make it through to the Champs of Champs. Now, so far, the top 3 drivers here is still for debate because of what's happened with Tarek Esser and where Morgan McCall sits at the moment. But the calculators will be out with including those dropped rounds, and we'll get that information as soon as possible. But back to the action. 6th position with 5 minutes to go is Appel. There you can see the gap getting ever so big, and now look at this. Simon Bauer now under pressure from Morgan McCall in the closing stages of the race. Dan.
This could be vital for Morgan McCall, just trying to notch up as many championship points as he can. Might not know where he stands as far as the top 3 goes. All he can do is just trying to maximise those points in this round. And he sees a few points, but he's got a 5-second penalty, Morgan McCall.
Oh.
That's the end of that then, isn't it? Unfortunately for Morgan McCall, is the first in-game penalty. 5 seconds got to be for track limits.
Do you think it's track limits, or do you think it's because of
no, stewards, live stewards, possibly for that. It must be for the nudge forcing his way through Apple, isn't it?
Yeah.
5 seconds won't be.
I'm not too sure. We're gonna hear about that. But as far as I know, isn't track limits usually 10 seconds?
Yeah, it's more. Yeah, you're quite right. I think it's that they didn't like the look of that path, did they? So they've effectively righted that position for him, so he'll drop back into 6th place unless he can pull a 5-second gap. Looks like the stewards are typing in chat, so it definitely is some steward intervention there that's given him 5 seconds. They thought possibly a little bit too heavy-handed going through that chase section.
Oh man, what a shame, what a shame, what a shame. So the stewards have assigned 5 seconds there to Morgan McCall, right or wrong. Either way, he's slipping back down the order, but now he's still on a charge trying to get past Bauer. Oh, grabs some massive amounts of curve there, and Bauer now feeling the pressure, but knowing even if he lets him through, it's not going to make much of a difference, is it?
No, not really. That 5 seconds is going to put him back into 6th place. Morgan McCall can try all he likes, but he's going to run out of time. Yeah, the stewards are still typing in chat. They've put round 6 Bathurst. Incident involving car 19, car 29 on lap 24. 5-second penalty for car 19. So didn't like that pass. Thought it was a little bit too heavy-handed. And it was on the limit, to be fair, wasn't it? It was certainly a bit of touching through that section.
That could go either way. I mean, he did give him quite the robust maneuver over there. So either way, I'm pretty satisfied with the call from our stewards. And they know best when it comes to these things. I've got to say, our steward calls this season have been on point there.
They have, and we've sort of forgotten about them because they haven't had to do anything in this race whatsoever. They've had a very comfortable ride. So when the 5 seconds come up, you forget that we've got live stewards here. But it's just as well we have to keep it nice and fair, and they've been superb. The fact that we haven't had to talk about them for 6 rounds, basically, you know that they've done their job well then, don't you?
Yeah, there's not much controversy surrounding them. And that's usually the case. When it comes to officials, you don't want to have your officials duking it out with the drivers, because then you know something's not 100% right. And here's the maneuver now into the braking zone, gets alongside. Oh man, he did come from far back though. I could see that going either way, Dan. I could see that going either way.
It's 50-50. We've got very impartial stewards though, so I think, yeah, like you said, the last thing the best steward's the one you don't know the name of, and I actually don't know the name of our steward, so he's done a very good job. It's from the SIMGRID, so kindly donated from SIMGRID is the stewards that are for the whole of this season, and they've been superb through ACC. So unfortunately for Morgan McCall though, he has been given a 5 second, and that is effectively going to give him 6th position in this race. But thankfully it won't be more than that, because the gap further back into 7th is 19.9 seconds.
Yeah, well, it hasn't. Oh, they're getting back markers now, and oh, Morgan McCall touches the wall. Morgan McCall gets overtaken once again. McCall touches the wall there. That's the rhythm you were talking about, Dan. The back marker gets out the way, and all of a sudden the rhythm gets upset, and that's exactly what happened to McCall there. McCall now finds himself behind Appel once again with that 5 second penalty. It's not going to make a difference. It's not going to make a difference at all.
Yeah, no difference whatsoever, actually, is it? Because he lost that on his own. But you're exactly right. You learn that mountain section, you get very comfortable until you're forced off your line. And that can change everything. And that's exactly why back markers in the mountain section is a disaster waiting to happen.
We could get that replay just before we cut to our winner over here, who's making his way in the final minutes of this race, Dan. 1 minute to go. And then it's all in the books for Harry Spears, bar any sort of post-race doping infringements or anything like that.
Well, I hope not.
I think Harry Spears.
Performance enhancing drugs in sim racing is not a thing, is it?
Well, Harry Spears could be the first, but bar some sort of post-race controversy, Harry Spears could be writing himself into the history books as our first international winner of the ATK Pro Series powered by Mercedes-Benz.
Yeah, I love the fact we've had international drivers this time. It's just giving a whole new look to this season. And he really is just cruising around. His last lap was a 2:03. He's using up his nice, big, chunky lead that he's built up throughout the start of this race. And he's just bringing that Mercedes-AMG home for the very last time on this final round of the ATK Pro Series. And what a phenomenal driver he's been. He's not dominated in every single round, but he's always been there or thereabouts and has taken a few wins to his name as well. And it looks destined to be the winner here in the final round of Mount Panorama, one of the hardest circuits we've had all season.
Yeah, the final corners loom as Harry Spears, the ultra composed Brit, with now a 5-second gap, and that's by his choosing, makes his way into the final left-hander, and he will cross the line as a winner. He will cross the line as a champion. Ladies and gentlemen, Harry Spears is the ATK Pro Series champion for 2022, and he crosses the line to secure not only the top spot of the podium, but also the top spot in our championship table. An incredible performance from him, followed by Silverline, Tariq Adam just behind, Bauer coming through as well. The rest of the field still making their way. But Harry Spears has cemented himself as a champion and a winner.
Yeah, he won it in qualifying, didn't he, really? Because it took the pressure off him starting from the front with no cars to look at. And Essa was the one that was put under pressure to try and hunt him down. Pushed really, really hard to do so. But yeah, lap 2 came a cropper. And from that point, Harry knew that all he had to do was get his Mercedes to the end. But he didn't let up. He built up a nice cushion. And then he could do some nice fuel saving towards the end. So it was a very controlled evening from Harry Spears. He was ultimately the fastest guy because that's how you get pole position. And then he just paced himself superbly.
Unbelievable class act from Harry Spears. And another name that I've been getting wrong the entire season, Harry Spears. But we ain't going to forget that name now, are we? We ain't going to forget that name anytime soon, because his name will go into the books as the champion of the ATK Pro Series powered by Mercedes. The first time we've run the one-make series like this. Incredible stuff. We're going to go to an ad break, folks. We'll be right back with interviews and your championship standings after this. And that is what the podium looks like. We forgot about Tariq Adam. And once again, Dan, you're so right in saying that someone that should probably have gotten a lot more coverage this season is Tariq Adam, with his incredible performance over the course of the season. Multiple podium positions, and of course, always in the fight is Tariq Adam in third position. But Eunice Silverline in second place, pulling off what arguably be one of the best overtakes we've seen, just by virtue of the absolute commitment and just grit it would take to be able to pull off an overtake like that, Dan.
Yeah, against the laws of physics, that overtake really, round the outside on a banked corner that goes the wrong way with a wall on your left-hand side. So superb. We'll look forward to asking him about that. We've got Tariq Adams from third position, who's going to join us in chat. Tariq Adams, How was that race for you? Nervous, but you got through it and you got yourself a podium.
Yeah, it was really intense. I just went in with the intention of just surviving. I just knew I had to finish. I knew I didn't have the pace of the top three, so just made a setup that's super safe just to survive, and yeah, that's what happened.
So why do you say you knew you didn't have the pace to go in the top three? And on a circuit like this, I would imagine a safe setup does help a lot just to keep the consistency going, doesn't it?
Yeah, I just saw from the practice sessions today that Everline and Spears were about half a second ahead of me, so I knew I wouldn't be able to make that up in a couple of practice sessions before the race, so I just went with the safe route.
But Tariq, over the course of the season, you have improved leaps and bounds. You've worked your way to the top of the bowl, where we now know that we're going to see you in the top 5. Tell us about your journey of the course of the season and your sort of background in sim racing. How did you end up where you are right now?
Well, I started about a year and a half, 2 years now almost ago. Got picked up by obviously GTWR, so, and learning a lot from Jordan Shedder. So he basically took me under the wing, taught me a lot of things, and yeah, that's how we've been progressing, just learning every day. So yeah, and then obviously at the start I didn't really know the Merc, hardly drove the car, so as the season progressed we kind of figured out a few things and we got a bit better.
Well, that's definitely the case. You've certainly gotten quite a lot better as far as we can tell. You've been a great addition to the ATK Pro Series, so thank you for joining us this season. We look forward to seeing you at the next one. Congratulations on your podium, and as mentioned multiple times on the stream, we should be mentioning you more just by virtue of the fact that you're always in the mix. We look forward to seeing you at the next season. Congratulations on your 3rd place, and good luck with the championships. I'm sure you're also busy with a calculator to figure out if you made it to the Champs of Champs.
Yeah, I think I did, just based off Minnow not attending, so.
Congratulations then, and I'll hopefully see you there.
Cool, thanks guys for hosting.
Thank you, it was fantastic. Dan, I'm pretty glad to have hosted with you. I mean, it's been a good season so far.
Yeah, you've not been too bad either, Ernest.
Yeah,
yeah, no, it's been great. Very, very enjoyable. We're joined now by the 2nd place man, Eunice Overline. You know, we want to ask you one big question. We saw the pass of the season. How the hell did you go around the outside of turn 2?
I didn't actually. I thought it was impossible to overtake there, but somehow able to do it.
Somehow, what a pass! We watched it back twice on stream. I said no, you can't do it. No, what is he thinking? And then all of a sudden it's like, hold on, he pulled it off. So congratulations on pass of the season. I think it was unanimous in chat.
Thank you.
Your pace was incredible today, Eunice Overline. Did you know that you would have such incredible pace during the race? What were your thoughts going into this race? And did you know you'd qualify in the front row of the grid as well?
I didn't think my race pace was too strong, but it turned out to be pretty strong. I expected to be in the top 3, maybe top 2, and I got it. So yeah, the start was pretty bad, but yeah.
Yeah, this start unfortunately didn't go your way, but you know what? For you to have a bad start meant that you had to overtake, and you having to overtake meant that we got to see one of the best overtakes we've seen, if not the best overtake we've seen at the end of the season. So regardless of all the other accolades that you will get, and regardless of where you stand in the championship, congratulations from the commentary team. You've entertained us thoroughly. Thank you for that, and congratulations on 2nd place and overtake of the season.
Well done.
Thank you.
That was Una Silverlinen, our 2nd place man, consistent over the course of the season and looking very, very good over the course of the season, making sure that he's always in the hunt for things. We've got the man of the moment, Dan, and you guys speak the same language. So Daniel, I'm going to hand this one over to you.
Harry, I said after round 1, I was printing Union Jack shirts to wear, and you did me proud. So thanks for that. This little battle that I have with Ernest Page between the Brits and the Saffers, and you came out on top. What a race! Well, it wasn't all easy. I think you did the hard job in qualifying. Do you think you agree?
Yeah, 100%. I think last round I was going on about how important qualifying is at Suzuka, but at Bathurst it's like that times 10. It's just so important. Yeah. So to have got on pole by 2 tenths as well, I was quite happy with that. And the laps, the first lap I put together, the 59.79, I thought that was, I didn't think I was going to improve on that at all. I thought that was like absolutely at my limit. But then I improved by 200s at the end, which was, it wasn't necessary. I still got that pole anyway, but it's still, yeah, still pleased to get that. And I was really happy.
Your main championship rival in Zaire Essa was behind you. He started from 3rd position, managed to get through Eunice Overlining quickly. You would have seen it in your Delta. When you glanced down and his name wasn't there, what went through your mind?
No, I couldn't believe it, because the thing is, obviously you have like your peripheral vision, like half an hour in the mirror the whole time. I just saw his lights disappear from my mirror. I was just like, sorry, but he's not crashed, has he? And I couldn't believe my locker. I looked at the relative and his name wasn't there anymore. I had to do a little fist pump to celebrate. But from that point on, I knew it was just nurse the car home.
Yeah, from that point on, I would imagine you'd have to keep your head down. So, from your perspective, now you don't have your main championship rival, but it's at that stage it was your race to lose. Tell me about what the mentality was after Zaire Essa disappeared in the back there, and also how do your stats look these days, based on the fact that generally when you enter a race, you podium and or win?
Yeah, so after I saw Zaire disappeared, obviously the thought sort of flooded your head, like if he's done it, I could just as easily do it as well. So it was just a case of trying to find that balance of, you know, you got this, but not sort of resting on your laurels and thinking that you're invincible. So I think I found quite a good balance to keep my confidence, but sort of stay aware that I could suffer the same fate. And in terms of my stats, I'm actually, SIMGRID released a feature where you have the leaderboard on their website for most wins, most poles, fastest lap. And statistically, I'm actually the best driver on the SIMGRID. I've got the most wins of anyone.
Wow, so this will actually help the cause there as well. That's phenomenal. Well done, Harry.
That is incredible, Harry Spears. Incredible. I've been getting your name wrong most of the season, calling you Harry Spires. I don't think I'm going to do that anytime soon again, Harry. I mean, you've cemented yourself as our champion, and you've come all the way from Europe, just like Dan over here, and dominated. Incredible stuff. What was your big takeaway from the season so far?
I think it's, yeah, don't give up, because the first round Zaire was head and shoulders above everyone else. He was like 3 tenths clear of everyone. And looking at that first round alone, you'd thought it would be sort of a runaway title for him. But for me, I think I came back with quite a big break in sim racing for that first round, and over the season, rather than sort of chucking the towel in and consigning myself to 2nd place, I just kept on pushing throughout the championship, and obviously I finally come out on top.
Yeah, and just to remind you, Harry, you do actually win VVIP tickets to the Kalami 9-hour in February. Have you ever been to South Africa before? Do you think you'll be able to get yourself over here? Because the tickets will be worth it if you can.
Yeah, 100%. I'd love to, as long as I can find the right flights. Then yeah, fingers crossed.
Well, you can meet me and Ernest there, and I can tell you for sure that it'll be worth your time, if only for the free alcohol alone.
Well, Harry Spears, the name to remember. You are our winner today, but more importantly, like I was saying, the rules unfortunately the standings aren't final yet. They're still provisional, so the anti-doping guys will be over to do some tests pretty soon. But bar any post-race controversy, you are our champion. So congratulations on that. Congratulations on a stellar performance this year. And effectively, as you said yourself, the season didn't start off that well, but you kept your head down and did what you needed to do. You are our champion. The ATK Pro Series, powered by Mercedes-Benz, welcomes you into the hallowed halls. Harry Spears, congratulations.
Yeah, let's go. Thanks, guys.
There we go, folks. There is your champion. And what an incredible performance from him. Dan, looking back on the season, what are your thoughts, your final thoughts before we say goodbye to the folks out there on the street?
Yeah, I just want to say a real massive thank you to all the drivers that have participated in this season. That's made it so great to commentate on, spectate, and we've all enjoyed it. And it's gone right to the wire, right to the final round. No one ran away with it and dominated, but that's what made it so exciting, as we saw various winners throughout the season. I cannot wait for the next one. So well done to Harry Spears, our deserved winner in the end, but also congratulations to the top 3 South Africans in Zaire Essa, Tariq Adams and Philip Minnaar, who will be going on to the South African Champions of Champions, and having now completed the Gran Turismo season, and the ACC season. I cannot wait to see how these guys clash together. So we look forward to that.
Oh, yes. The champion of champions will be revealed soon, folks. Stay tuned to our socials to find out more about what will be happening. Of course, thanks to you guys out there for watching. And of course, the entire production team, everybody in the background, our sponsors on your screen over there. Puma, Motorsport South Africa, Coach Dave, Academy Africa, Race Together, Kylomi 9 Hour, SAGT, and of course, SIMGRID as well. This is the ATK Pro Series powered by Mercedes-Benz. My name is Ernest Page and that is Daniel Haynes. Join us next season and we'll see you guys at the Champs of Champs. Until then, stay safe, do those laps, and we'll see you guys soon.
Welcome to Africa's first ROG arena. Woo!